Hi, I'm Life Coach Landry, and the topic is 8 ways to express yourself to avoid another's defensiveness coming right at you. Now, we just came out of COVID. A lot of divorce rates I see jumping up right now. A lot of fights going on inside the homes. A lot of splitting up, domestic abuse. All kinds of things are going on. So here's the deal. Okay, we're humans. Talking is our number one trait, not counting primitive survival, food, shelter. Communication is our upper level first kind of number one thing to do. So how do you do that without pissing them off or them pissing you off, right? So you got to think about these things. When a situation is emotionally intense, it's really not easy to express your feelings in an open and direct manner. I myself can be direct no matter what. That is not the case for a lot of people. Sometimes it just can't be done. You need to cool off or whatnot. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to jump right in on the 8 things you need to do. Number 1, avoid blame. Okay, this isn't that hard to talk about something. You can discuss a problem without saying, you're the whole reason it's happening. Every once in a while, that is the case. If someone comes home, if someone has infidelity, well, the cheater caused the problem. It's very cut and dry, right? But there are a lot of issues that are nothing more than different perspectives. Okay, when you avoid wording that sounds like you're blaming someone, you show that you understand that perspective is not only one perspective. That there is no right and wrong. There's actually a difference. That's what it's called. For some people, the word different is like, what? Hey, maybe you got with the wrong person. Maybe you need to figure that out. But these are the things that you need to talk about and how to talk about them so you can get to brass tacks if being together is what you're supposed to do. Or if you're in love and it's just a silly problem that needs to be talked through, okay? Number 2, be honest. Speak the truth to yourself and the other person. Don't avoid being direct because it might hurt their feelings. It's better to hurt people's feelings and it be on the table so that, if you walk away for the wrong reasons, you're like, wait, I should have said this. Who wants to be in that predicament? Who wants to go, God, if I would have said this, I wonder if things would have been totally different. Say what you mean what you say. Okay. Admit your own mistakes. Number 3, if you don't talk about your part in a situation, if you just blanket with, oh, I'm sorry for my part in that. I could have done better. Easy statements. Talk about what you actually could have done better. Talk about what your actual part was in that. That will remind the other person that you're not coming at this lopsided. You get that there is a problem that both of you created. Number 4, speak about your own feelings, your views, your actions. Like I said, not just the other person's. This way you avoid putting the other person in a defensive seat, right? If you just sit there and yap, for an hour, 2 to 3 hours at a time at someone about everything they've done wrong, your relationship's coming to an end. It's going to basically erode what's left there because you've put a person in a position to hold a shield instead of to open their arms to the conversation. Okay. So be open. My next one, be open to hearing the other person's point of view. Listen carefully to what they have to say and make sure we acknowledge their feelings. When you don't acknowledge people's feelings, it tells them you don't love them in a way in which will create a long-term conversation about your relationship. Okay? Listen to that again. When you're not open to people's feelings and you're only open to your own being expressed and you shut the other person's perspective down, what you've done is you've shut down your long-term ability to work your problems out. Okay? Number 6, concentrate on expressing your feelings rather than focusing on the problem. Okay? Say, I felt, so that you're not confrontational. What that means is don't tell someone, I am tired of you doing this. Don't tell them, I can't do this anymore. Or it's better to say, I'm not happy because I feel. I'm not happy because I felt when this happened. This is what bothered me. Basically, what you're doing is you're putting something on the table for the other person to come to and go, well, maybe I can do that different. Or they might say, no, that's how I felt too. That's why I addressed it like that. Then you get to start talking about why and how versus just you did this, you did that. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you, never talk more than 7 minutes at a time. This is one of the best things I learned when I was in school in psychology is when you talk for more than 7 minutes about something that's bothering you, you've basically shut the other person's perspective down. Trade the conversation back and forth. Hey, if you're just there to break up or get closure, obviously you're not going to do that. But that's the signal you're sending to the other person when you do that. When you trade off in 7-minute segments, not exactly to the dot, but work with that kind of ratio, what you're doing is you're involving them in the feedback to solve the problem. Okay? Number 7, if either you or the person you're addressing starts to feel the least bit angry, stop the conversation and take a break. God, this is like, I can't tell people often enough, this is where your relationship gets lit on fire when you don't practice this. I suggest coming up with a keyword that will signal that everything's heading down a very negative road. If you're with a partner right now that basically runs their mouth and doesn't shut up when they're just ramping all over you and putting you down and whatnot for more than, a minute or two, walk away from them. It shows that they lack the maturity to shut down their gear of negativity. And then, they can't shut down their ability to, what I always say, cock out of their mouth about how they feel about a situation. What they're doing what the other person's feeling, if you continue to cock out of your mouth, is, I have no place in this conversation. I don't need to be here. And when you send that signal, you're, like I said earlier, you're shutting down the ability to have long-term, ongoing, healthy communication to solve a problem in your relationship. You're sending the signal that down the road, it will be no better. And that is not what you want your partner to feel. Okay. Number 8 would be, throughout the conversation, be willing to listen well, forgive yourself, but also forgive the other person and move on from the issue when the conversation's over. Now, I always say 1 to 3 conversations max on a topic. If it goes beyond that, you need to have a discussion about breaking up. It means that you have hit a roadblock. It means that you've hit an incompatibility with each other. So you have a choice when you come to that fork. At some point, one has to give in to the other side, vice versa, or come to an agreement that you both are okay with not resolving this. You don't feel like it's a breakup item. But if you do feel like it's a breakup item, do yourself the favor, walk away, stop dragging yourself through mud and hurting each other when you could be on to people who agree more in tandem with your belief on this, okay? I hope this helps. I get this a lot in my emails. I tell people, no matter when I bring up stuff, they're defensive or they don't want to talk about it. I tell people you may be with an incompatible person or your approach may be all wrong. You're putting them in a defensive state. When you want to work something out with someone you love, the last thing you want is defensiveness. It does nothing. It just brings everything down a road that leads to ultimately breaking up. If that's not your goal, I suggest you stop attacking. You start listening. You start trading off conversation back and forth. Stop blaming. Learn to forgive both yourself and the person you're talking to, okay? I hope this helps you. I hope this answers. I got like 50 emails on different stuff and I put them together and I came up with, I saw a common denominator of this. Apply this, read it. When you watch my videos, take notes. The more you read it to yourself, even if you don't want to go through everything I said, just write down the bullet points of what I'm saying. Say them to yourself 7 to 10 times over the course of a couple of days, and it will be like the back of your hand when it comes to talking. You will apply these things right away. Share them with your partner. Get them to read them 7 to 10 times. Rehearse them. Come to the conversation. See if things are different. Okay? Thanks for watching.